everybody. This is Liz from Augusta. It's Memorial Day 2023, and I'm wearing overalls because I am cleaning all the guys' trucks as a little Memorial Day present for them. So I'm at the Bellingham shop. If you've never seen Lee here, this is where Lee sits. So today I am with someone who I've really wanted to interview for a long time, and he is a general manager and an owner. So he's been an employee, a GM, and an owner. So he has so many angles to share with us today, and a second location already in the works. So let's start at the beginning. If you can introduce yourself and where you're from and a little bit about yourself.
Hey everyone, my name is Jeremy Owens. I'm in Augusta, Georgia. We operate the Augusta Lawn Care of Augusta and North Augusta franchise locations. I recently just turned 27 years old. I've been with my partner for 6 years this July, and we started this in a different landscape company that was failing. We went to franchise, joined Augusta, and we've come a long way since then. In a brief introduction.
So that is the long and short of it, folks. And now we'll dig into some of the details. So you came to Brian at Fine Lines Landscaping, and Brian we've interviewed before, Brian Connor, and for some reason you guys clicked. You were one of his employees, and you became so much more than that and became a friend. And then that brought us through so many things till today. But as an employee, what was it that happened between the two of you that you became so much more than just an employee to him?
So I was working at a golf course when one of my fellow friends and employees left there to go work with Brian. He told me how he was really kind. He treated everyone well, paid us well, more than most other people in that industry. And so I joined the team, and what I found out was that they were going to the gas station 5, 6, 7 times a day. They would actually, on my first day, without Brian being there, I think I interviewed on a Friday. My first day without working with the owner was that Monday, and we clocked in at 6 a.m. We drove 30 minutes to a church in the middle of nowhere. And instead of getting out the truck and working, they took a 30-minute nap. They said, we get here at 6:30 at the church, we nap for 30, and then we start working. So we had 2 trucks at the time, and my truck that I was placed on started getting more work done in a shorter amount of time and no complaints. So after a couple weeks, he also on Jobber made us put who did what at each property, and then he would quality control. He'd ride by them and see, how they looked. And after probably 2 weeks, he approached me and asked if I didn't mind disclosing what I thought and what I saw. And I just let it all out because I was looking for an opportunity to make enough money to where I could afford my bills and finish technical college. And so I just came out and told him everything about the other guys, what was going on. And he fired everyone. Me and a friend, we hired a friend of mine. Me and him did all of the work that those 4 guys were doing. Wow. And so he went from losing money to being profitable. And we really hit it off after that.
I bet. So you built a relationship of trust within just a few weeks of you being there.
Yeah. And I was looking for a job to earn more money and to support myself. And he was looking for help in his business because he was failing. So, we really hit it off, needed each other, and it's been a great thing ever since then.
So you were going to technical college. Were you working full time and trying to do that as well?
So I graduated high school, and I've always worked full time, and I made it to 76% done with my degree, and I decided to not finish and pursue lawn care. So
yeah, and most people would say you were so crazy, but I bet you're making more now than you would have made with that technical degree.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I left, is because where I was at with Brian at the time is where that started out. So I was already ahead, I felt like. And in business, I think you earn you can get certain freedoms at certain stages in business, and you also provide opportunities to others and serve a bunch of clients that we really appreciate. So there's I think it was the right route to go for me.
Mm-hmm. That's fantastic. So we are very happy to have you in the landscape industry with us. And there came a specific time, I know, where Brian was struggling and wondering what he should do in the business. Was that the specific time you were talking about with employees, or what was the time that he was feeling discouraged, wanted to quit, and you encouraged him to keep going and that you would be there to help him?
Yeah, so I think not only did he have the employee issue, he's gotten much better about it, but he's always been huge about growth and starting things like a lot of entrepreneurs. And so when I started, we had the lawn care side, the treatment side, which he had to do. He was doing all of the treatments, doing all of the computer work for the landscaping. And then him and his wife had Natural Truth Nutrition, which was a bodybuilding, natural, no supplements, nothing like that, all natural bodybuilding. And so he was spread thin. And I think it's important to focus on the day to day and what's in front of you. And you want to be thinking about the future, but he was tied up in all three of these different things and not really giving any one of them his undivided attention. And they were all in their early stages. And that's when I think it needs the most focus.
Yeah, I agree with that. And so did he turn to you to ask you to take more of a role in the lawn care, or were you the person that actually gave him that reality check about focusing on the lawn care business? Because he probably was at a place where he was not as successful as he could be in the lawn care business either because of his divided attention.
Yeah, so in hindsight, I wish I had the confidence to tell him, like, hey, I think you should focus on one thing. Even though I felt that, I didn't have the courage to tell him. And Brian's older than me, so I do kind of look up to him in a way. But as time has gone by, he's learned that if we are going to be successful, that he needs to pick one. And as I started, I think within the first year, after my first year, I started doing the schedule. He started just doing estimates. Natural Truth was gone. Then we were just doing landscaping and treatments. And after my first year, we actually had a conversation, handshake, on if I had worked hard and stayed there for 5 years, I'd become an owner with him. And there was nothing ever written on paper. And he's a man of his word, and that happened on my 5 years. But yeah, after the first year, he started giving me more and more roles, and that's what helped us grow the business.
Awesome. So now you have how many trucks, how many team members? What's your dynamic?
So Augusta has 6 trucks, 12 guys. Augusta of North Augusta has 1 truck, 2 guys. So
And
14 total.
yeah,
14 total, 7 guys, and 1 backup truck.
and this, we're kind of jumping ahead, but before you started P4P, did you feel like you had to have so many more guys? Are you working with less crew now and getting more done?
Oh yeah, we are super efficient compared to what we were. I think it was upwards of 50% on labor at Fine Lines, so extremely inefficient and just no motivation to get any more work done.
How did you first hear about Augusta?
Was it the 2019 summit? Yeah.
I'm not sure what year you came. So you knew nothing until you came with Brian, is that correct?
Yeah, it was October when Brian found Mike. That was the same year we had grossed 400 in revenue, but spent 409. So, make that make sense. And he found Mike after that growing season in October, and then we came in January. And that was when Mike did the first 10 franchises, was it?
Yeah. Yeah. So when you came, why did you guys come to the summit?
Hold on, it broke up there. What was that?
Sorry. So why did you guys come to the summit? What was the motivation for Brian to come?
to figure out how to. The main thing was the inefficiencies with labor inside the business, and obviously I was money motivated, growth motivated, but not everyone has leadership skills. Not everyone wants that, and just how to motivate people and have more efficient labor.
Got it. So when you came, was he actually calling you his manager?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought so. I remember standing there with you and then him telling me kind of your plan and what your visions were. And did we have P for P at that time?
Yes, that was the really intriguing thing to Brian and myself. I remember some late nights in the chrysalis, trying to, after conference, figuring out what we were going to do when we got home. That was the main motivator.
I remember both of you. You had bright orange shirts, and I was very attracted to the two of you because you were right up front. You were very attentive, and you were from Augusta too. So I don't know why that attraction was from me, but when you came back and talked to me at the back of the room, I had told Mike later, there's something about them that everything that they exude and are, and their character integrity, that from what I was gathering from meeting you for that first time, they would be fantastic with Augusta and with us. But we had for the very first time, we had a dinner at the end of that, and that was going to be to pitch the franchise. And I remember that I asked the two of you to come, and then you were very confident together, I guess, after you went to the chrysalis and figured everything out. You were very confident that you wanted to try this way. And I remember us talking about dividing up your roles and deciding who was going to do what when you went back. And you were very confident that you could handle it. So you went back home and did your thing. But then afterwards, I just couldn't get you guys off my mind. And I asked Mike if I could email you. And I had both of your emails, but didn't know who you were really, except that we had talked a little bit, and kept asking if there was any, if you would like to give us a call, if you had any questions, to please set up a call with Mike. So I'm not sure how long it was before Brian set up a call with Mike, but I believe there were several calls, right?
Yeah, I believe on the second call we decided to join. It was June or July, so conference was in January, and I think we realized that P for P really helped us and saved our butts that year because of how fast we were growing. I think we realized that there were certain things. Mike's such a visionary. There are certain things that we could not replicate, just because of how innovative Mike is, how smart he is, and where he was already at. So that's why we wanted to join the team.
That makes sense. And I remember after that, I don't know if you were already a part of Augusta, but I remember Brian contacting me early in the morning one day, and he said, we're going to have a vote this morning on P for P. And I'm pretty sure some people are going to be mad and some people are going to quit. And I said, well, just fire them or just let them go because you want buy-in. And I asked him, why are you even voting? You know that you want to do this. And do you remember that day?
Yeah, so we were still fine lines, and the team did vote it in, and sure enough, we lost every single one of them as the months went by. But now every year our team gets stronger and bigger, and so it's the pain that you have to go through to get to where you want to be.
So when you hire somebody organically and they just come straight into P for P, and that's just the way it is, do you find their buy-in is much easier?
Yeah, we have three sets of brothers on the team. One of
Wow.
them being twins. Set of cousins, and then almost everyone knows everyone. So it's a really friendly atmosphere. Maybe a little too much joking around, but if they get their jobs done, and we have we visit a couple hundred clients each week. If we get 3 to 4 complaints that I can usually talk the customer out of, I don't mind the friendly environment. But we all almost know each other, and so when the guys get in, they're there for P because of what the other guys have already told them. The good things about it: Google review money, perfect attendance money, profit sharing, which it will actually be this is the first year we're doing it, but it will actually mean something to them. So
Yes. And
that
there's a story behind that as well, because like you said, when you first heard of us, you had made 400,000 that year, and your debt was, or your expenses were 409,000. So what was the plan that Mike and Brian put together to decrease all your expenses, and what was their plan to get you to profitability?
So first, to even get in the franchise, Mike allowed us, I think, 2 whole years before we paid the franchise fee. So a lot of goodwill on Mike's end. Really appreciate that. Otherwise, we probably would have had to take on more debt. I know when we joined, I believe we were at 180,000 in debt, which was a lot, and that was swallowing up almost all of our profit each month. But without that debt, we wouldn't be in business. So it's kind of
Right.
give and take there. We joined the franchise. We did 400,000 in revenue the year before. Then we did 700,000. Then we did 1.1, and then 1.3. And the year we did 700 and 1.1, there was only $40,000 in profit of each year. So we barely skated by. We didn't finance anything else throughout those years, and we did snowball payments on the debt. So as a piece of equipment paid off, say if the payments were $5,000, but an $800 a month unit came off, we still paid $5,000. And so now it's down to 20,000 or less. We're paying the minimum, and we're not as privy to, or we're not looking to take on debt. And we want to buy almost everything with cash if we can.
So when you told your employees this, was there some sort of thermometer or some sort of way that you could motivate your guys, because there was no there was no profit to give to them?
Right. So that was definitely a thing in the future that we've had a couple guys here for 2+ years. So they've been along for the ride for the debt. But yeah, there is a whiteboard with a thermometer drawn on it, and we filled it in up to the top. And this should be our most profitable year, and good profit sharing for the team. So until this year, the motivation has been just the extra $4 to $6 per hour on P4P, Google review money, and a good strong culture.
And I think that I saw a picture recently of, I don't know how many team members, I think it was maybe 7, and there was, I believe, perfect attendance. So is there some sort of award for that?
Yeah, so we just implemented that this year, and there's a lot of speaking about this at conference, like, hey, what else can we do to motivate the team other than just P4P? Because they rightfully deserve it, and if you can do it, why not treat them the best you can? So this year, I started at March 1st. An employee who lives in Augusta knew about us from Mike's YouTube, applied, and he started March 1st, and he was the only one to get it in March. And so, the second Monday in April, I'm handing him $50 cash. And then the second Monday in May, I'm handing out $300 more. So just that one guy getting $50, 6 more were motivated, and that's 7 guys for perfect attendance in a month. Doesn't get much better than that.
Right. So it took the new guy to motivate the others, just showing that it could be done.
Yeah. And it puts a smile on my face, withdrawing $350 cash and then handing that out to them.
Yeah, it's the most awesome feeling. I've been trying to do things like that. Just think outside the box. I don't know if you do Audible books and give them awards for listening to books. Do you do that too?
Yeah, we did we copied a lot of what Dylan and April pretty much printed out their sheet, the $10 for extreme ownership and P4P. Yeah, and then they all have access to the Audible.
Yeah, so Lee and I we offer them, we're doing a fun thing this month where we're actually offering, because we see some things in the team that need some growth and a lot of new people. So we're going to offer them $30 to listen to Extreme Ownership and give us one thing they gleaned from the book. And then behind the scenes, Lee and I bet on how many people would actually do it, because not everybody is motivated to do this. It's like once they do, though, they get hooked. So we'll see who Lee or I win a gift certificate this month.
I highly recommend it. It's a game-changing book.
It is. It is. So let's go to the time you said that he promised you that he'd make you part owner with him in 5 years. And when that time came, did you have to remind him, or had it been so much a part of you guys getting closer and closer and you handling so much responsibility that he was ready to make some sort of offer for you?
Yeah, so there was little to no speaking of it throughout the time it was initially brought up to when it happened. I knew Brian is a man of integrity and his word. So on the 4-year mark, I was curious what if anything. I think I got a cake and like $100. Still grateful for that. His wife makes amazing cakes. And year number 5 is when he told me that he was gonna make me co-owner with him. So we went to the lawyer's office, signed papers, went on a mountain biking trip to Asheville, North Carolina, and yeah, we really didn't speak about it much. He had given me so much responsibility, put me on the bank account, gave me a vehicle, gave me a cell phone. I had access to everything in the business. We were that close that I knew it was coming. It was just a matter of when.
Yeah, that's awesome. So was it soon after the 5-year mark that he brought it up, or did he bring it up on that biking trip?
On the day of my 5th year anniversary is when I had a cake that said happy 5 years. And then I believe we went to the lawyer's office that day. And the mountain biking was just to the cherry on top.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So how many years has it been since then?
1 year. It'll be 1 year this year.
Okay, cool. So was the split 50-50, or was it 10%? And how does that all work when 2 people become business partners?
So it's 90-10. And same thing in North Augusta. So any funds or any other Augustas that we start, I'll automatically be 10% in, because Augusta, where I'm co-owner, is funding those locations. So I have that going for me, and it's a 90-10 split, because Brian was the visionary, started it all, and I'm thankful to be a part of it.
Yeah. So how do you split your roles? Did you actually sit down at that time and say, because I'm owner, I'm going to do this much more? Or is it going to be like sweat equity that I'm giving? Or how do you divide up your responsibilities?
Yeah, so the 10% was earned through sweat equity, get into the business to a certain certain revenue size, and to where we made enough money to keep the doors open, of course. We initially started out when we transferred to Augusta. Brian was the office manager and I was the estimator. And I could tell that it was grinding on him. He's really good with people, but day-to-day operations is not his specialty. Wrenches, screwdrivers, drills, not his specialty, which I'm no expert, but I know enough to get me by and enough to keep our stuff going. So one day I could tell it had been wearing on him being the office manager, and he actually offered to me would I like to switch, which I think is a little more stressful than the estimator position. But he's really good with sales. So I was willing to make the switch, and I think it was really good for our business. So ever since that date, probably 2 years ago, I do emails, handle complaints, manage the team, keep the trucks and trailers in operating condition. He does our marketing, sales, and any legal taxes with the business. He typically handles that. Now, of course, we sometimes do step lines to help each other out, but for the most part, that's our split.
Yeah, so that's the next thing I was going to ask. Are there times when you're almost tripping over each other because you're trying to help each other and kind of getting in each other's lanes? And when that happens, how do you resolve that?
So we're pretty good about it. The main thing is he'll help me out with if there's a complaint I can't talk the customer out of, I'll ask him to put it on his route and ride by. And because we make mistakes, we're not perfect. So I really sometimes like to see what's going on before I just issue a yellow slip. Because a lot of times I can talk the customer out, or it's expectations that's gone awry. We do pretty good at staying in our own lanes. We really, to be honest, we really don't have much of an issue with that. But with the size that we're at, probably going to do 1.3 in Augusta this year, and hopefully 175 to 200,000 in North Augusta. We stay pretty busy, focused on our own roles.
How far apart are these two locations?
So we run them both out of our one shop that's in Augusta. It's a quick 10-minute ride, no more, to North Augusta from our shop. And then in Augusta, we have a pretty decent sized service area. So from our shop to our furthest yard is about 20 to 25 minutes with traffic.
Got it.
So North Augusta is very close to the shop, and our shop is on the edge of our service area, but no more than 20 minutes to the furthest yard.
So when you started the North Augusta location and you had the separate business entity, do you mix anything, trucks, guys, anything like that, or do you plan to keep it completely separate?
The plan was to keep it separate, but once you get in the heat of things, gas can gets ran over, gas can gets lost. The existing location, mine, has all of this stuff, and part of their success is dependent on us, I feel like. So right. I do help them out, and we've had to, unfortunately, switch managers out. We had to demote our first North Augusta manager and promote another guy from our Augusta team, and he doesn't have the training. So now I'm doing all of the computer tasks, whereas he is going to just handle complaints, his team member, his truck, and equipment.
And then does Brian have to cross over to train that person on estimates, or is Brian doing estimates for both locations?
Brian's doing estimates, so that since he's full-time estimator, and we can make it work with him. And with us being a little strapped for cash starting this secondary location, we want them to focus on work and bring in revenue, especially if he and I can cover for the first 2 years and allow that to grow to where the manager can assume more of a office type estimator type position.
So there are definitely benefits of keeping one location very close to the next territory, because in situations like this where it's unexpected to move out a GM right in the middle of the spring season, you can just transfer people over from the team. Was that person brought from inside the team?
Yep, the new promotion, McKeet, he's been to conference the last 2 years, and he's been with us over 2 years. So he got the position. He's really been working on himself and working hard. He's come a long way since he started with us. He didn't even do any grass mowing when he started with us. Couldn't tell you any grass or any bushes. He was doing landscaping for a competitor in town. So he's come a long way. He's really matured, and I think he deserves it and earned it, and wish him nothing but the best. And I do feel like if I have the time, energy, and supplies, we're going to assist them and help them be successful to where they can be more self-sufficient.
I love it. So if he is over there and he's in the role of GM, how do you pay somebody like that different from an employee, because they're taking on so much responsibility? Do they get a % of profits, or are they paid still hourly?
Yeah, so this all happened so quick. The first GM, we were going more of profit sharing with him, and speaking with him and trying to aligning his goals. And whereas McKeet, we're going to have the meeting actually this Monday. This is how new this change is, but we're going to try to incentivize him for growth and give him bonuses based on certain incentives, hitting a monthly revenue goal, hitting a yearly revenue goal, and just by oh goodness, what's the word? Incentivizing him to grow the business.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I love it. I love it. And is he money motivated?
He is for sure.
That makes a big difference, because if you put them in a GM role and they're just like da 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 da,
Yeah.
it's very hard to really light a fire under them.
Yeah, and it's a big mind shift for them, because they go from thinking, I do this many yards, I do this many budgeted hours, I earn this much money, to
Yeah.
now you have to you can't translate it like that anymore. You have to think more bigger picture, and in the terms of, once I get this business, when I get this business to this certain goal, I'll be rewarded the fruits of my labor by having this profit sharing, revenue goals, all that stuff.
When you brought your first GM here for the North Augusta training, you came in town with him, but you spent time, doing other things with your girlfriend and stuff. But I remember that you came in briefly just to say hi. And there was a couple things we talked about, which I really think would help the listeners to hear a little bit about. And I asked you, when you really kind of turned a corner and you guys set these goals for Augusta and you were going hot and heavy, how did that change the relationship with the girlfriend you had at that time? Because it really, you changed.
Yeah, so my girlfriend's really supportive of me. I'm so thankful for that. I don't have to worry about what I'm going to eat at night, what I'm going to eat at work throughout the day, and I'm able to go in at 6 a.m., come home between 6 and 6:30 p.m., and she's okay with that. Of course, we miss each other, but I know that the lifestyle that I hope to have one day, and the businesses that Brian and I hope to have, it's not going to come from 8 hours a day, and it's not going to come from, I got to put time and effort and invest into these people, invest into our business, and we'll be rewarded one day. But she's a huge part of what I do. I wouldn't be able to do it without her. And this year we're having the best start of a year that we've ever had. So I'm seeing that. I'm the first one in. Last year and the years prior, I didn't do this. I heard it at conference a lot. I'm the first one in, and I'm the last one out. And I can tell you, it makes a huge difference.
Yep, it does.
It really does.
It transforms the culture.
Mm-hmm. It does. That's one thing that we were missing. I couldn't figure it out last year, and this year that change has really paid dividends.
Yeah, there's nothing like when they've worked so hard all day to come back and they're like, "What? You're still here." I remember one of the guys telling me, when it rains a lot here, and he said it was like coming back to the lighthouse. And he said, and you were the lighthouse. It was the only light around because it was pitch black by then. It's raining. And so that means a lot. And it goes to show that whether they ever say it or not, the one time he says it in 3 years, that it does matter to them.
Yeah. And just last week, me and 4 other guys, we had to work till 7 o'clock. The sunlight was fading away as we were putting up the last trucks and all that. And that type of leadership is what grows a strong culture. And they can, I think, feed off of that and hopefully start becoming leaders themselves.
Exactly. So I want to go back, though, to where you said that when your first girlfriend, when this change happened in the business, she had a problem with it. Like it changed you. So it was something that she really couldn't live with.
Yeah, that was it was tough on me. So as I've been with Brian, I had my one girlfriend, and then since Augusta, I've had a different one. The first relationship was tough. She didn't really understand. I wasn't making what I am now. We were not doing as good as we are now. And I told her a lot about that. And I think she just saw it as a failure. And that's really tough if your partner doesn't believe in what you're doing. And if you're putting in 60 hours a week and you're losing money, losing employees, I think it's tough for some people to see the light at the end of that tunnel. And it definitely made things tough. And we ended up splitting up for other reasons, but it definitely did not help this situation. And I was able to focus a lot more time and energy like I wanted on the business after that.
Yeah, so it's really beneficial to have somebody that's that supportive. And there are guys in Augusta that have specifically said they don't have any family support. And so Augusta had to become their family because it's like you said, you're starting with nothing, with little, but because you have systems in place that it's going to be successful. And so they don't all have a family member or an awesome girlfriend. So thank you for sharing that. I know that's more personal, but it's something everybody deals with when they start a business.
Yeah, I think a supportive partner helps you go a long way. Makes the journey easier too.
For sure. So how has the dynamic of your relationship with Brian changed now that you're more on an equal level, making decisions with him? Has it grown stronger, or how is your relationship now?
Yeah, we actually spent, now that his family's growing, I see a little bit less of him. He spends more and more time with his family, but that's a good thing. You need to. It Our relationship's still going strong. I make a lot of the day-to-day decisions. I still run a lot of stuff by him. We probably speak 2 or 3 times a day on the phone, and I do make pretty much all the day-to-day decisions. He's out there selling. It takes a lot of estimates to keep these locations going. Other than just bouncing stuff by each other, I make most of the day-to-day calls.
So most people are going to ask you were with Fine Lines and then you switched to Augusta. So what has the growth been? 50%, 100%? Like what has the percentage been? So like I know when we started, we have 50 mowing customers way back when. The next year we had 100, next year we had 150, and then it kind of starts snowballing from there. But what has the change been growth wise?
Yeah, so I remember I remember Fine Lines. I had to, on an Excel sheet, add every new customer to the Excel sheet. And trust me, you're not going to remember to add every single one. So
Yeah.
your client list is not accurate. I want to say 210 to 215 was what I remember from Fine Lines. And then now, I'm trying to remember last year in the peak month, it was 432, 462. And Fine Lines topped out at 400,000, whereas last year we did 1.35 million.
Awesome.
So,
And throughout this, you started with how many guys?
when we were first getting started.
Yeah, so you said that you lost all of them but two.
Yeah.
So how big was the crew when you came to Augusta?
So when we transferred to Augusta, I think we had 9 employees.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
so now you have, about the same, right?
Yeah, 12 in Augusta and then 2 North Augusta.
Got it. And were all those employees from the original Augusta?
Yeah, we've had 3 guys that have been with us 2 years, 1 guy who's been with us 1 year. So we have some lengthy team members for sure, but none of the Fine Lines guys made it and stayed in Augusta. All of them are gone.
Got it. And it's completely different business and leadership and everything's
Mhm.
different now, I'm sure.
It is 100%. And um, what is that? 90% growth, I think, from where Fine Lines left off and to where Augusta is now. So, yeah.
What would you attribute that mainly to? Would it be systems and that you're following the systems, or was it moving you and Brian more into positions that affected growth and profitability?
I would say command center, huge part of that in the franchise system, taking the phone calls, taking the questions about, hey, when are we coming? I want to pay an invoice, stuff that you don't want your estimator and manager to focus on. That's been a huge help. And then the systems backing that up. All of the trucks having the same equipment. The trailers and trucks might be set up a little bit different, but it's all of the same equipment. Pay for performance, and splitting our trucks into trucks that do mowing and weeding, trucks that do property cleanups and landscaping, and then trucks that do shrub trimming. And then me just having a detailed system for what we do Monday through Friday and when we do it.
Have you reduced any services since you started with Augusta or added more? What kind of services do you offer?
Yeah, we have trimmed down a lot. So we got rid of treatments.
Wow.
We were doing 150,000 a year in treatments. Those are gone. We were doing sod, plants, full landscapes. That's gone as of this year.
Wow.
And yeah, last year we did a $15,000 landscape and one tree died. But it's too much hassle for us dealing with live plants. Some jobs go great, some don't. You
Yep.
definitely remember the ones that don't go good more than the ones that do. And so we've cut out a lot of services. And so you could say simplifying services, implementing systems, and using the call center, all three things that'll help you scale very quick and efficiently.
Yeah, so Command Center, for those who don't know, is a place where you can pick a la carte, the franchisees only can pick a la carte what they need help with. So when it gets really busy, you can hand them off to Command. And so mainly what do you use them for? Is it just phone calls and like online chats, or what do you need them for?
Yeah, so in our Augusta location, I actually just cut off talk because we were
Oh,
spending
okay.
a lot of money through there.
Yeah.
So we use Command Center. They answer the phone for us. They do collections, the process of sending a client that is more than 30 days past due on invoices. They check our clearance, which is our credit card processor. They make sure that payments actually that go through Service Autopilot, the software, end up in the bank. And I believe those are the main three things that we're using. We also have a Connect Team chat with Command Center where we can communicate back and forth, request emails be sent, calls be made to customers. That's mainly what we're using them for.
Do you think you would need an office assistant if you didn't have that?
Yes. I could definitely use one. I'd be extreme. I'd be pretty inundated with the amount of phone calls that come
Yeah.
through and questions like that. I think so.
Yes. So I know that there's a certain time when Mike recommends that people even utilize other call centers or any kind of, because you're only making 250,000. You don't want to be spending that money when you don't need an office assistant anyway to be spending that kind of money on Command. But I know even for the Bellingham location, at a certain point, there's no way that even with just you and Command, you could do it all, that you need another person, meaning you have to be
Right.
there doing all this. And then Command is like your office assistant. What point of revenue do you think that it comes to where you have to make a change? You have to have more help. Is it at 1 million and you knew you had to have some sort of outside help? Or was it like even yourself, you worked in the field. So at a certain point, you had to be pulled from the field because this is a full-time position.
Yeah. So Brian was our Command Center up until 700,000 in revenue. So I was helping him in the office, but I would say at around $500,000, you're going to feel like you probably want help in a recurring service business. 1 million, you definitely are going to have someone's entire job is dedicated to being on the computer, scheduling jobs, responding to customers, invoicing, everything that comes with the office side of
Yeah.
your service business.
And then running the routes. Do you run the routes all day and keep in contact with the crew?
Yeah, so I sure do. I do the schedule the evening uh, before, and if someone's getting behind due to breakdown, mower breaking down, customers, us having issues with a client on a route, we'll try to move those yards over to someone that's having a more efficient day, and it's P for P, so they're only making more money for doing that extra work.
Yeah, got it. So we'll start to wrap up for today, but is there something that do you listen to podcasts, audible books? Is there anything you do to make yourself better that you can listen to on the job or from the morning till you get up till you get to work? Or are you more like just go as you go and hope you can change and become good at your job? Or is there something that you try to do to make yourself better?
Lately it's really just immersing myself in the Facebook group, listening to everything that Mike puts out, and staying on top of the scorecards. That's something I was not good with last year. So us in the franchise, we get a monthly coaching call. I highly recommend that you do that. And now we have an electronic coaching card that we can fill out and email to our coach before the call. I listened to a lot of Jocko last year and the year before that. This year, I'm not listening to much, but more of staying in tune with the updates that's coming from the leadership at the franchise and making sure that we're putting that into effect, and just really spending a lot of time with the team this year. Because last year, once I was done around 2 or 3 o'clock, I would leave for the day, and I know that caused us not to be as good as we could. So I'm just spending all my time I can with the team.
Yeah, so that's the same with me at this time of the busy time of year. Like we're open 5 to 5. So to be there 5 to 5, you got to be there. If you're going to be there from the time the first people get there till the first, when the last people leave. But I kind of lost track of where we were there. What was I asking you?
Just, is there anything that I'm listening to,
Yeah.
podcast, book wise?
Yep. Yes. So I found the same at a certain point. As the franchise grows, there's so much that we need to get from every angle of the franchise itself, that it's the same for me because of the time we need to spend with the team in the spring, and because of so much content that we get from the franchise, the masterminds, and then all the stuff we post. I try to keep up on and too also. And Lee and Mike have a podcast, and it's like I tell the team, you don't have to, but if you really want to be good at your job and understand the why of what's happening in the business, it's really important for them even. And that's what, like you said, you're watching the one young man and you see what he's doing, to listen and to change. And is that how you chose him, really, is for the way he was absorbing content?
Yeah, he took he listened to us. He read Extreme Ownership. He's listened to some other books. He's actually summarized some of those before and brought them up when we've met with him monthly. And the main thing for him that I saw was the personal growth from where he started to where he's at now. And the fact that he said he's wanted this and he's made those changes through listening to books and just working on himself. Trying to trust people more. That was one thing he was struggling with. Being able to trust people, and just working on his attitude as well. He's made huge improvements with that. So mainly the work on himself. He has listened to some good books, but he's mainly just changing himself.
So for you and I, that would be a good way for them to see over time when you're an employee. That's what they need to immerse themselves in, is all of that business from every single angle and personal development. But I found that where you and I are now, years and years of absorbing that content, that now it's like we've had to choose a lane, and then everything that's in that lane is not only, but they're the majority of the things that are coming in to help us to perform at our best.
Yeah, but between speaking with the team, speaking with customers, handling breakdowns, I try to handle as many of those as I can to save us money and keep trucks going, because downtime will kill us in this business. To making sure we have the right supplies and the scheduling, emails, routing, all that comes with the computer. So I feel like my best time is spent focusing on the business, because the time I would be listening to other things is minimal right now.
Yeah, exactly. So as we wrap up, there's not very many times that we can have somebody on that has been an employee, then a GM, and now is an owner and is on the second location. So what are the goals that you and the other owner have together for the future?
Brian has changed a lot as far as his growth goals, which I'm down to have more locations, but I think the way that he originally planned wasn't going to be the best use of our investment funds. So we originally thought that we were going to go to like Savannah, Charleston, the coast, when really right here, right in front of us in our service area, we have I think 400,000 or 500,000 people between the CSRA. We have Aiken, North Augusta, Augusta, Evans, Martinez, and Grovetown, where you could arguably have your own $500,000 to $1 million location. And so instead of expanding away from here, we're now going to focus over the next couple of years, growing our main hub and then dividing it into smaller locations. So that's where we plan on going. We may do one more at the end of this year. If not, we're going to wait 2 or 3 years and try to do two locations right here where we're already at.
When we first started the franchise, I think that we gave territories that were too big, probably. So the smaller locations that you're going to do, are they within your big territory?
Yep. So we have a really big territory right now. I don't know the mileage, but it's enough to where they are inside of the CSRA, the Central Savannah River area. You have Augusta, the city, which is in Richmond County. And then Columbia County is where most of our business is. And that's comprised of Evans, Martinez, and Grovetown, which we service. And those could all be, by the amount of residents, could be split into their own locations. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We did take the franchise's advice with our North Augusta location and did a 3 or 5 mile radius. But since our original location has such a big area, we want to split it up, and we think that'll be a better use of our resources. And with our first location, we realized, hey, in the middle of the year, we lost the manager already and had to he's still on the team, but he's not the manager. So going far away could be more problems when we have what we need right here.
True. That's good. So what would you say to somebody that is going to they would love to be in this rare position that you went from employee to GM to owner? What would you say to the employee that is there now and where you are seems so unattainable at this time, but they have ambition to get there?
That it's not going to happen overnight. I think that if you can't handle 5 years of hard work and dedication, that's the amount of time to me that it will take to really build something that's worthwhile. You got to put in the time and energy. It's not going to happen overnight, and you have to constantly be willing to work on yourself and be humble and realize that everyone around you can teach you something, and to be kind to everyone on your team.
Yeah, that's awesome. So in closing, do you have any quotes? I don't know if you're a quote guy, a word guy, but do you have any specific quotes that you want to share with us?
I read that question and I said, you know what? I said, I'm not going to just go with one. So no, I really love spending my time and efforts on the team and watching the business grow. And that's where I get my happiness.
Yeah, not everybody has. I have like 50 quotes just on sticky notes all over my house, and it kind of looks cluttery. So I'm not cluttery in general, but it's crazy when you have that many that you just suddenly look up and there's this really bold statement right in your face. So we go through seasons and times, and sometimes you don't really need quotes for what you're doing right now.
Yeah, so I don't have any quotes right now.
That's all right. We'll forgive you this time. Well, I will let you go, and I cannot tell you how much I appreciate your time today. I think it's going to help a lot of people.
Yeah, Liz. Well, I'm happy to do it. It's always great speaking with you, and have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.